It's 1904 house time. It's been forever. How are you? How you been? I've been terrible. Basically, I got the flu for the first time in my 25 years of life, and it put me out completely. I'm still not completely over it, which I'm sure you can hear. And let's hope I can get through this recording without coughing. Anyways, moving on. This video will be a bit more informative than most, as I think that's more the route I want to be going here on my channel, so get used to it. I'm going to give you lots of information about houses that maybe you didn't ask for, but it's history and not everyone knows these things, and I feel like if you're into houses, you should know. So this house I lifted from archive.org yet again. Thank you. Please donate to them if you can. It's from a book called Modern Cottage Architecture by Maurice B. Adams, published in 1904, with the intention of spreading knowledge and hopefully development of English domestic architecture. So this Maurice B. Adams, his name is really hard for me to say, had made other books like this. He was interested in what many Western people at the time were into, which was kind of a calling back to more traditional times and styles. It was like an appreciation of craftsmanship and specifically distinctly English style. So it was a trend basically of the time to kind of make houses that were popular back in the day, like the Tudor style house, this style of home, is a very traditional style of house. It's from the 16th century. So it's a very readily recognizable English style home. And in the early 1900s, people were moving away from the very ornamental Victorian styles and were kind of going for the simplified styles of the past. They were really into that. So that's why we get so many of these Tudor style houses coming back in this time. Also, this wasn't only in the English, like, it wasn't only in England, it was in the US as well, but in the US it's kind of translated a little bit differently. This particular house was actually, it was published in, the book was published in England, so this one's a bit closer to the actual English style than most of the American Tudor style houses that we get in the same time. So, this house, I guess you could also consider it Tudor Revival since it's not from the 16th century, but I'm just going to call it a Tudor house for the sake of whatever, for me wanting to call it that. But they don't have too many outward characteristics that differ from original Tudor houses from the 16th century. And those things are like half-timbered walls, which you'll see eventually. I do get a little bit of that in here, not too much of it. The floor plan actually, or the illustration of it, doesn't have half-timbered walls. It's kind of confusing, the floor plan, actually, because it looks like the roof comes all the way down to the first floor, and I obviously couldn't make that happen in The Sims, so it's just shingles, but it's close to what I think the illustration's trying to show. But the inside, I think, probably would have had the half-timbered walls. And essentially all that means is you have kind of the beams exposed. And in between it is I think it's plaster. So you would have the beams exposed with the plastering in between it. And we do actually have that as a wallpaper in The Sims. Okay, but the half-timbered walls aren't the only things that make it a Tudor house. There are many other details indicative of Tudor style. So thank you to, I think it's arcantiques.com for the direct quotes that I'm going to throw at you right now, describing Tudor houses. But the main features that identify a Tudor house are steeply pitched roofs, multiple front-facing gables, asymmetrical floor plans, which this one definitely has, an overhanging second floor, which this one also has, arrangements of tall, narrow, diamond pane, wow, I can't read, casement windows, and decorative brickwork. We don't have all of these things in the game, and you'll see how that affects the facade, like once it's, all done. Mainly the windows is kind of what throws it off. I wish we had more narrow windows in the game that fit together nicely. We don't really have that. So, oh well, but it doesn't matter. We never get exact, it's always just close. So, other features of a 20th century Tudor home include lots of dark colored wood and metal. Tudor Revival chandeliers were typically shaped with a central ring hanging from a metal chain, which we do have, with holders shaped for candlesticks. So, I put that in the living room. We do have that. Additional half timbering might be found on the ceiling, which is something I wish we could do in The Sims, but our ceilings are all white and boring. Light fixtures and furnishings will typically have ornamentation that has shapes similar to those seen on a heraldic crest or coat of arms. This includes shields, helmets, animals, foliage or vines, spade shapes, sword shapes, and the fleur-de-lis. Once again, that's calling back to the 16th century. That coat of arms and things like that were more important back then, as it was indicative of you being like a good family or a big family, something like that, a well-to-do family. Them doing it in the 20th century Tudor houses really didn't mean anything. It's really just a style thing. So that's what makes this a Tudor style house. If you didn't know, now you know. I chose this particular floor plan because it's quite cute to me. It's a little bit different than what I've seen. It's separated on either side by the floor or by the staircase, and the kitchen's enormous. But this is one of my favorite styles of homes. I just love Tudor style, whether it be traditional English Tudor or the 1930s American Tudor style, like suburban homes. It doesn't matter. They're just wonderful, cozy little houses. The floor plan here is really quite simple. Bedrooms upstairs, main living areas downstairs. You may notice there's no bathroom. I didn't realize until the very end because, of course, I'm just following the plan. I forgot I put in these photos for inspiration. These were what I followed. So if you're wondering what a Tudor style house on the inside kind of looks like, that's the idea. But yeah, I just followed the plan. So I didn't realize until the very end that I didn't put a bathroom in here. So I did have to change the little back porch area over there, which in the original floor plan, I don't exactly know what that was. I have seen the abbreviations in other floor plans, and they're all British ones. They're all, English houses, but they've got something that says EC. I don't know what that is. And then coals. I'm assuming the coals is for like the fireplace hearth area, because they would need them for cooking. That makes the most sense for me. But I don't know what EC means. If anyone knows, I can't seem to figure it out. But I did have to change that area. I originally was going to just check the fridge back there and be like, haha, it's like part of the kitchen, but whatever. But I did end up having to change it into a bathroom because there's no bathroom in this house. I don't know exactly where, like, what they would have done with the bathroom. I don't know if they would have had an outhouse or if they would have used, they don't use chamber pots in in early 1900s. I don't think. It probably would have been an outhouse, I would assume. I don't know. It's confusing to me because all of these English houses, they don't have bathrooms in them from the early 1900s. It's kind of weird. So, as you can see with the kitchen, these sort of styles of kitchens, they kind of are overly cluttered, and it's not just me wanting to clutter things. That's really how the style is. Like, and if you go back and look at those pictures that I put up, that's just how the kitchens are. There's a lot of things stuck on the walls, a lot of things hanging from everything, and that's just how they functioned. Before cabinetry was really widespread, that's what they did. They just hung it from the wall, I guess. I obviously had to add in some countertops just because the game needs countertops in order for you to use your kitchen. And I had to add in, a traditional stove, traditional hood, traditional fridge. Well, I'm saying traditional, but I mean like a real one, like an actual one. Because back in this time in the early 1900s, this is not exactly what they would have had. Like I said, they would have used a hearth. I think that's how you say it. I could be wrong in how you pronounce that. I've never known how to pronounce that word. But, like a giant fireplace thing, but you cook in it instead of just, putting wood in it to heat up a room. It would have been that instead of this fireplace. But I can't have that in The Sims. I tried to make one. It did not look like one at all. I tried. If somebody could figure out how to make one, I would love that. Please tell me how, because I would absolutely include that in these houses. But they would have had that in probably the living room and the kitchen, and then maybe just regular fireplaces upstairs, because this house does have 2 rooms upstairs with fireplaces. For some reason, the third room didn't get one. I don't know why. But they just, I don't know, they would cook in them. They would have more of kind of a wood burning stove sort of like quality about them, I guess. And this living room also is kind of, again, taken from that inspiration that I showed you earlier in the photos, almost directly, as much as I could. It's kind of more for where your guests would go. It's like a nice little sitting room where you would go and sit around the fire and just talk to your guests. It's not so much an area where you would plop down on a couch and, you know, I don't know, you can't watch a TV because there's no TV. Maybe was there like recording, what are those things called? Music. What are those called? Recorders? No. You know what I'm talking about though. I think phonographs, is that what I'm talking about? Whatever. Maybe you would have read a book, maybe you would have something like that, but I think it would have been a bit more for guests because you might have been outside of the house more often than sitting inside of your house trying to relax. So it's kind of where the nice things are. It's all the nice furniture, it's all the nice decorative items, your nice photos, and all of that, to show off, basically. That's kind of the idea. And then when you get up to your bedrooms, it's all very quite simple. And of course, your kitchen is very much a working kitchen. It's not necessarily like a decorative space or anything like that like we have now. So much of houses now is all about showmanship. It's so much about like, how pretty can we make it? How nice can we make it? And there's definitely things about older houses where it's like, this is purely for functionality, you know? Things were like this not because necessarily we liked it, but just because we needed them to be like that. This is how we lived, this is how we worked inside of our houses. And these bedrooms kind of are really indicative of that. There's not much going on in there. I mean, this room I kind of kept a bit more like a study, I guess, with the bookshelf and everything. But there's something about these houses where it's like you really get the sense that people just they kind of just ate and slept there. They didn't do much else there, you know. They kind of would maybe go out and work somewhere most of the day instead of being in their house all the time. So the bedrooms aren't really decorated that much, and the kitchens aren't decorated at all. And that's just how it was, you know. So pretty much coming at the end of this video, I think I have one more bedroom after this. I did cut out like all of the landscaping pretty much because it was pretty plain. I just added a few trees here and there. And I'm kind of trying to wrap this up because I can feel a cough coming. But I will try to get 1905 up very soon. Work schedule's been kind of, oh my goodness. Like, I know I tell you guys this every video, but my job situation's getting a little, I don't know, it's not under threat necessarily, but my company is doing a lot of weird things that are making me a little scared. And, you know, things out of my control that may affect my job in the future, but not right now. So things have all been very high tension lately, and obviously I've been super, super sick. I've been living off of rice and applesauce. Today I ate a bagel for the first time and didn't feel like throwing up, so I'm really happy about that. Please be proud of me for that. Anyways, here's screenshots. I will try to get 1905 up as soon as I can. I really apologize for my inconsistency. I'm sorry. But thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Please like. Thank you. Okay, bye. Have a nice day. See you next time. Doo-doo-doo.